I deleted TikTok a few months ago. Time does not exist for me anymore. As much as I miss the random 10-second dopamine hits you get in every 2 out of 50 videos, I should really say 1.5 out of 50 videos, I do miss finding very strange, obscure things with little to no context and then learning the context after you've seen the video. This happened to me, well, I heard this audio.
Touch me, it's so easy to leave me all alone with the memory of my days in the sun.
That clip changed the brain chemistry in my head. I didn't know where it was from. I didn't know why this chick in a prom dress was singing her absolute heart out. No context for what Cats is. I have vague memories of the 2019 movie Before the World Ended. I see this clip and I lose my mind. The passion in her voice, the clear adolescence, the shaky vibrato. Yeah, it's not Broadway, but damn if it doesn't make me feel something. And this punk-ass emo-looking kid sobbing. He is so clearly moved, shaken to his core, just as I am by her performance. I heard that clip and I haven't stopped thinking about it since. I constructed an entire reality in my head that there was this movie out there where, whether it was the main characters or the side characters, this punk-ass emo-looking kid, maybe like a sophomore in high school, is so moved to tears by this dorky but passionate girl. Maybe she's a kid in his class who he's never really interacted with before. You see the two of them on screen, you think, oh, they're just each in their own separate quirky little world. I was very wrong. I discovered that this is a clip from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the movie. I've never seen it. The song that she's singing is from Cats, the musical. I don't want to disparage the movie or the musical, but not where I thought that had originated from. Not what I thought I was getting myself into. Though I respect and am now interested in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the movie, and Cats, the musical, I so desperately want to see this movie that I created in my head that isn't real, but God, I wish it was. You know, my brain says, Julia, just write it. Write the damn movie if it doesn't exist. But in my soul, nothing will ever compare. Nothing I ever write will live up to that imagined story that I came up with in that 30-second dopamine hit after I first heard this song on TikTok. Nothing will ever live up to it. That kind of got me thinking about a lot of other imagined stories that audiences have imagined collectively. This phenomenon, I am taking the authority here. I am the first scholar to talk about this. Why am I the first scholar to talk about this? We're gonna call it mass hallucinated media. You want a better name? Be the bandwagon of the literary analysis movement yourself. I'm not gonna say that, that's mean. Anyway, so mass hallucinated media. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Media that the masses have hallucinated. Think of 4 pieces of media that have this cult phenomenon surrounding it, and I like tables of content. So we're gonna talk about when Marnie was there, we're gonna talk about Barbie Princess and the Pauper again, and then we're gonna we're going to talk about Supernatural, and we're going to talk about Goncharov 1973, and then we'll have some conclusions. The first piece of media I would like to talk about is when Marnie was there. CJ the X has a really good video essay about it already, and I don't want to just say what he says. Also, stream Be Perfect or Die, Quit is amazing. Also Lapse. Let's go over the movie. When Marnie Was There is about an insecure and depressed young girl, Anna, who is sent away by her adoptive parents to the countryside to stop being insecure and depressed. There, she becomes infatuated with the mysterious mansion and this girl Marnie who lives inside it. I don't want to repeat what CJ says, but basically, it's a cute story where Anna learns how to function in the world through her relationship with Marnie. And their relationship is really romantic. Which is really sweet because, plot twist, Marnie is a time-traveling ghost. Who doesn't want to have a tragic romance with a time-traveling ghost? But it's also really fucking weird because, plot twist, Marnie is Anna's grandma. I don't want to talk about it, but let's talk about it. Every video essay I've ever seen admits that they have no grand point in making the video essay about when Marnie was there, but that they feel really weird about the last 20 minutes of the movie. That's really cool. People are making video essays about a movie just to process emotionally that this grand love story they witnessed is upheaved in the last 20 minutes of the movie. When Marnie Was There was based on a book. Never read the book. According to others, the book isn't trying to convince you that Marnie and Anna are in love. So why does the movie try so hard? Why are they so insistent on every scene being about Marnie and Anna declaring how glad that the other is their precious secret, and teaching each other how to row a boat, and running to each other in the dead of night, and secretly dancing at parties, and Anna is jealous of Marnie's boyfriend? Do I have a grand point in telling you all this? No, but just like everyone else, I feel not just disappointed that I was convinced I was watching a great love story, but also that I never got to actually see that love story the way I should have. I want a coming-of-age love story about someone's first love, and how that first love makes them feel more attached in a world they feel detached from. And when that first love ends in heartbreak, as it inevitably would, they come away from the relationship feeling that they've learned to be a part of something. I want that story with Marnie and Anna, where it jumps through time, and I don't want it with different characters. I want it in this story. We're moving on to Barbie Princess and the Pauper. Barbie Princess and the Pauper. We're talking about Barbie Princess and the Pauper for the second time on this channel, and I feel really proud of that. I feel a similar way to Barbie Princess and the Pauper. I mentioned in my video review of Barbie Princess and the Pauper that every time when I was a kid, every time I watched Barbie Princess and the Pauper, it's actually Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper. Every time I watched that movie as a kid, I came away from it feeling like Erica and Annalise ended up together, but then whenever I watched the movie, I really loved and enjoyed Julian and Annalise's relationship. I thought it was really sweet. Why did I feel that way? I know the writers didn't want 6-year-old me to come away from their Mark Twain retelling with that conclusion, but there are a lot of other people who feel this way. How did we get this result? How did we get this mass hallucinated movie when the author just didn't intend it? In Marnie, there is some textual justification for why you would think Marnie and Anna would end up together, even if it's completely revoked at the ending when you learn about the time jump exposition. But in Princess and the Pauper, there's barely any interaction between Erica and Annalise. So why is every Gen Z sapphic completely convinced that Barbie Princess is the Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper ends with Erica and Annalise becoming queens of a geode exporting kingdom? Why? I don't know, but it happens. It exists. I was conned into watching Supernatural at 14 by some mutuals, and it's not good. I watched so much of that show waiting for it to get good, and it never got good. I'm sorry, I don't want to talk about it. What's Supernatural about, for those who don't know, for those who don't have perpetual brain rot? Supernatural is about two brothers who fight all things that go bump in the night. Werewolves, demons, vampires, good endings, good writing, quality TV content. They don't have any of it. They actively fight against it. It's a soap opera. American cable TV is dying, and they don't want you to know this, but Supernatural isn't a gruff American cable TV about masculine men. It's a soap opera. Why do you think they got the two teen heartthrobs from Gilmore Girls and a literal soap opera to play their lead parts? It's a soap opera. I don't think the creator of the show ever intended it to be a soap opera, but they realized they could make bank if it was a soap opera, and it's a soap opera. Tell me it's not a soap opera. Supernatural is I'm not going to talk about it. So by the 4th season, the 2008 writer's strike happened, and through seemingly divine intervention, they introduced angels into the show, and Castiel was born. Now is the part of the video where we go through my severely brain-rotted Pinterest boards on Dean Cass. I'm not gonna call it Destiel. Destiel is from 2013. Dean Cass is from the modern age. The reality of this situation is that there are people more passionate about Supernatural than me, have gone through and done the analysis, and I can't explain this show to you. I feel embarrassed admitting that I've watched it because my 14 13-year-old somewhat obsession with just Castiel, I feel kind of proves that I have no good thoughts about media, and I'm trying to run a video essay channel here. But I feel like at the end of the day, good video essays are about unhinged experiences with media. They're not about good analysis. They're just about people sharing their unhinged feelings about unhinged shows at unhinged hours of the night. So let's go through my Dean cast board.
You're only allowed to hate the CW's Supernatural if you love the CW's Supernatural, and you're only allowed to love the CW's Supernatural if you hate the CW's Supernatural. A huge warehouse fan casting shadows over Cass face. He says strange how a leaky pipe can undo the work of angels, like for real. The CW is over here going full on Flannery O'Connor levels of American Gothic, like honestly what the fuck, what's next? Are we going to sit under neon lights drinking PBR and compare God's abandonment of the angels to an abusive alcoholic leaving his young sons alone in a hotel room for weeks on end? Not to harp, but in watching the beginning of season 4 and it's setting it all over again that they really did accidentally find one of the greatest elevator pitches of all time? If I were a TV exec and you walked into my office and pitched me a man sells his soul to hell with a smile on his face because he believes he is nothing more than a tool for his father's violence, and is saved by the holy hand of an angel who looks into his very soul and falls in love with him, and through him, humanity itself, I'd sign your check before you even finish the sentence. How is it that one of the wildest IPs anyone's ever come up with exists because they needed a deus ex machina to solve the plot problem caused by a writer's strike? What the hell? I don't like the television show Supernatural, I like the secret television show underneath Supernatural. That show is my favorite show and in having a fantastic view experience.
The masses hallucinated Dean Cass. Like, it was kind of real at the end of the series, but it wasn't canonical. I'm not gonna spend hours reliving the Destiel debates of queerbaiting from 2013's Tumblr. But God, if I didn't feel every emotion that the gods put in me on November 5th of 2020. I spent years of my preteens realizing that this dumb fucking angel and his dumb fucking boyfriend was something I connected to so much. I felt like this was the definition of love at 13. And then a decade later, some pricks at the CW decided to toy with my emotions during a fraught presidential election and a frickin' pandemic. This story had been stewing in my head. I hadn't seen it in years, but I would recall with fondness. You can only ever apply to the worst parts of your life this story, a story about a man and an angel falling in love, and I believed it. And even though that wasn't the story the writers were telling. On to something a little bit more modern and a little bit more pleasant. Goncharov, 1973. It's a real movie about the Russian mob in Italy, and it follows a cast of characters that, frankly, I can't really explain. Like, you should really just see it for yourself. This movie exists. It's real. It's in the heads of everybody who knows about it. Is it factual? I think the answer to that question is found in the same question. Is Barbie a princess or an astronaut? She has to be one. There has to be one canonical version of Barbie, this one streamlined event, this canonical timeline of Barbie, this mythical figure. There has to be, right? I think mass hallucinated stories are just like the myths of old. When people orally tell stories and pass them down generation after generation through cultures, these stories are fraught with contradiction. There is no canon, and if there is canon, it's a very strange, loose canon. It's not the way that we understand and engage with media today. I think I think the mass hallucinated media is just as real as the story it originated from. It exists in a similar but separate space. It exists in the same place that Goncharov, 1973 exists. And it's perfect. My biggest takeaway from this, I think, is mass hallucinated media is a net gain because it lets people tell better stories. It lets people improve upon existing stories, and that's what media is all about, baby. It's about retelling the same story over and over again, the same way we have been retelling Gilgamesh since its inception. So when you watch something and it doesn't turn out exactly the way you wanted it to, or the way your peer group wanted it to, you want to tell that story and do it justice. You want it to be retold. So I will be writing that Patty Farrell and Roderick story, and it won't live up to the TikTok audio that I heard, but I think this is the way that we fill the hole in our hearts when we learn that a piece of media has let us down. We get the opportunity to create new art out of an art that has let us down. Anyway, that's mass hallucinated media for you. I can always write it myself. That's how great art is born, out of disappointment and spite.